today I have my mom here with me as an audience member. Say hi, Mom.
Hi.
Okay, so a child's name is the first and most basic part of themselves that they share with the world. Their sense of self is immensely connected to this one word. The classroom is the first part of the real world that a child gets to see. It's important that children feel like the real world is a place where they can belong. In today's speech, I'm going to be talking about the importance of pronouncing children's names correctly. For students of color and students with unique names, pronouncing their names doesn't come easily to most people. However, saying that their names are too difficult or too hard and pronouncing their name using a mispronunciation or by calling them a different name altogether, it teaches them that just fitting in with the crowd is easier and that their uniqueness doesn't really matter or that it's a burden. I have only gone to preschool in the United States. However, I still have a distinct memory of almost all of my teachers mispronouncing my name. I'm not blaming the education system, but I feel like we have a lot of room to grow. My name is Rida, spelled R-I-D-A-H. However, in preschool, my name was pronounced Rida, which I'm not entirely sure how they got there, because isn't it in preschool where students learn that the pronunciation of I is it and not I? Unfortunately, many people of color and many people with unique names have similar stories to mine, and they've had to deal with it for longer than I have. However, I believe that you all have this completely in the bag because you've gone to college for 4 straight years just to learn how to be caring and considerate. In today's speech, I'm going to be first talking about the expert's take on why you should pronounce students' names properly, and then I'm going to give suggestions on how you can go about doing that. How you can go about learning names you've never heard before. Rita Kohli, an associate professor at UC Riverside Graduate School of Education, wrote an article in 2012 called "Teachers, Please Learn Our Names: Racial Microaggressions and the K-12 Classroom." A microaggression is a statement, action, or incident that is regarded as a subtle, unintentional, or indirect form of discrimination against members of marginalized groups. Even though mispronouncing someone's name is done without any malintent whatsoever, it still is a very subtle form of discrimination. And then there's the hidden curriculum. According to study.com, hidden curriculum are the lessons taught to students often informally and unintentionally in a school system. Sometimes these can be positive lessons, such as proper social conduct. But in this case, in this instance, what students are taught by having their name labeled as hard or difficult to pronounce is decidedly negative. It imposes a sense of otherness onto them that they just can't quite shake. A Vox video called "What's in a Name?" a lot actually brings up another important point. Students are expected to learn so many new things all at once in the classroom. They are encouraged to try, fail, and try again, and most importantly, to be vulnerable. I believe that teachers should also embody the same level of vulnerability that they expect from their students while learning to pronounce their names. This could play into the hidden curriculum positively, because by being as vulnerable as you expect your students to be, it could help them to shed off their inhibitions and break down their walls. Now, when you hear a name that you can't quite pronounce, don't freak out. I have some suggestions to make sure that you get these names right. Firstly, I would suggest that you make the child record the correct pronunciation of his or her name. This would prevent you from having to ask over and over again, which would eventually make the child self-conscious. Preventing the child, if the child becomes self-conscious, they will agree to your pronunciation even if it's wrong. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but for most of you, even this recording won't be enough. Therefore, I suggest that you enlist the help of a member of the parent community who is of the same racial background as the student, if that's relevant. They can help break down the names for you. The technique that I use to help people pronounce names that they've never heard before is I break down the word into syllables and relate them to English words. For example, the name Akshat. The first part, ak, is like the ak sound in truck, and the second part, shaj, is like shut, but with a J. By relating these different parts of the name to English words that the teachers are already familiar with, this can help the teachers remember the names better. Then these names will stop feeling hard and difficult, and they'll start feeling natural. I am really honored to be speaking in front of such an influential audience today, and I hope that the central idea of my speech, that it's important to pronounce students' names correctly so that they feel accepted and understood, is not just appreciated as a good idea, but it is something that can be translated into communities and lives, so that when our names are pronounced correctly, it's not just a pleasant surprise. Rather, it is the norm. Thank you so much, not only for your time this evening, but for putting in that extra mile each and every semester to make sure that your students succeed, and for the heart and soul that you pour into your communities. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful